Sup, it's Sora. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be rating Arcadia. Essentially, I'm going to be looking at her kit, her SIGs, her stats, and rating everything on a system of 3 stars. I already worked out the math, don't worry about it. And I'm essentially going to be discovering if she is, S tier, F tier, things of that nature. Before we get into this video, I want to make a disclaimer that this is my opinion. So yeah, please, no, just no. And without further ado, let's jump right in. There won't be any sound for this video because my OBS is absolute dog water, and I've configured the settings endless times to no avail whatsoever. So I'm actually running a screen recording and voice memos at the same time, and it's whatever. So let's start off with her weapons. Arcadia uses spear and greatsword, which gives her a lot of spatial control and reach with her attacks. Her stat spread is 7744, which means her damage is reliable, and her damage is pretty good, but with speed being the best stat in the game right now, she falls on the slower side. She's bound to have some type of issues, you know what I mean? You can use a speed stance to give her average speed, but you'll have to sacrifice some of her strength to get it. So, other than that, stat-wise, she's okay. Good damage, kinda slow, but not the slowest. It's not a Queen Eye situation. Her defense isn't the greatest either, but it's not a Jiro situation either. She's doing fine. Now for her SIGs. I'm going to rate each SIG on a scale of 3 stars. And then we're going to add up all the stars she collects to get her total star score, which will then place her in a ranking of F tier through S tier. So Spear Insig, it looks cool. It hits on a nice D-light like angle, which means that you can mix up which attack you go for. You could do side light, Insig, or you can do side light, you could do side light D-light, or you could do Silite, D-Light, Insig. That was supposed to... My gravity cancels are literally the worst. Silite, D-Light, Insig. Or you could go for the Silite, D-Light, double D-Light. If they don't have a dodge, get things going. But yeah, it hits on a nice angle. It also hits grounded, which means you can do... you could just run up in their face, knock them up in the air. It has a pretty generous... how do I turn on the hitboxes? There we go. No, not hitboxes. There we go. The hitbox is okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's nothing crazy. It's pretty, it's cool. It also moves your hitbox upwards when you use her. Well, hurtbox, as it's called. When you use the attack, your hurtbox leaves the ground, which means that if Vector, for example, were on bow and were to side sig me and I were to use this move, of course I wouldn't use this move to dodge it, but let's say, I thought he was gonna come from the air and I go like this, but he side sigs. I'm in the air, so, I'm cool. Overall, this SIG, it's nothing amazing. It's pretty solid, kind of reliable. You can make it work. I'm gonna give it 2 out of 3 stars. Next, we have Spear Side SIG. Now, I really don't like this. Not a fan of it at all. It hits twice, and it looks cool-ish. If we're gonna get really into my opinion here, I don't like the way the beetle looks. So, I mean, on an aesthetic level, I'm not a fan of the move anyways. But getting more technical, it's slow and it's reactable. Like, look at how much time. If you're my opponent and I bum rush you like this, you have all day to see me jump up onto the beetle and charge forward. And it's not even like an Ember type of, side sig where she like jumps onto, you think it's a wolf, but she like jumps on it as it's moving forward. No, she literally waits for it to come up, hops on, and then charges forward. And you can hold it, which makes you stand still longer. I don't get it. Sure, like, oh wait, no, I keep, what's it called? Like, you're just gonna sit there? Who's going to just allow you to just sit there and pull that off? And I mean, sure, in the event of a read, like, let's say, I hit you with a side light. As a matter of fact, let me demonstrate what I mean. Whoops. Okay, side light. I can, and did I mention it doesn't hit stacked? I mean, kind of, but like, when I mean stacked, I mean like stacked. It does not. It does not do that. So, yeah, like, I'm literally trying to find a use for the hold version. I mean, yeah, sure that. But also, even if your enemy does do a, like, a spot dodge, they can very evidently see you on a beetle waiting for them to land and jump away. Throw a weapon, counterattack, I feel like it would be better if the hold version allowed you to adjust how far the beetle goes, because it has a set range and won't exceed that. So kind of like a Suri or Zal, how, if you hold it, they just go farther. I feel like that would be better. I also think, in my opinion, of course, that it would be better if when the beetle emerges out of the ground, that there was a hitbox where, the beetle comes up and, that initiates the hit. That way there's some actual, merit to her being so stationary as the beetle comes out of the ground. Because as it stands, you're kind of just held there. And up against, the higher ranking opponents, a brief moment of standing there is all it takes for you to just get your cheeks clapped. Not to mention, I feel like the worst part of this move is the recovery. Now watch, I'm going to spam. Now, you saw I use my dodge. I don't have a dodge. I mean, I do have a dodge. I have a dodge ready. It's good to go. I'm going to use side sig and I'm going to spam my dodge. And watch how long it takes. Hold on, let me move Vector away. Watch how long it takes. That long. And that may not seem like a big deal, but when you think about how slow it is, how slow the move is overall, first the beetle has to come up, then you charge forward, and then all that recovery time. If you miss this move, which, with it being as slow as it is and reactable, you most likely will, to then not only have to wait that long before you can dodge, this move, you are literally delivering yourself to your opponent. And, look, if you watch closely, when she jumps off the beetle, she carries some of the momentum, so you are literally tossing yourself, to your opponent if you miss. And you can't dodge for what feels like a year. Yeah, this move, I mean, like, it does do good damage if you land it. That's the only, plus. That's the only, upside of this move, is that if you can land it, it will be worth your while, I think. But it's just all that you have to go through to land it. It's just, no thanks. 1 out of 3 stars. Her Spear D-Sig. This move is incredible. It has great utility. It's a setup move for Spear. It has an off-stage version. Like, if you do one of those, see how it turns and hits right here. So it's good for edge guarding. Whoops. Good for edge guarding your opponents. It has this lift up mechanic that stuns the enemy. So you can get stuff in like that. That's a true combo. No, you can't get a recovery, but if I'm not mistaken, you can get a side light. Side light? Whoops. Side light? Is his damage too high? It will turn damage reset on. I don't know why I didn't do that before. But, no, you can't get a side light. I could have sworn that was a true combo. Okay. But, you can get a nair. Am I just garbage? Okay, so it seems like... Oh, so you can get a recovery. Am I slow? I think I'm underestimating how fast she recovers out of this move. Whoops. Okay, so I don't know. I think I need some more practice with this move. But on the sheer level of utility alone, how it stuns the enemy, lifts them into the air. It's like a little landmine. It's like a Yumiko bow down sig moment. You just throw it out, stand back, let your opponent get caught up in it, and go from there. Not to mention, if you know how your opponent's going to dodge, let's say I know this vector likes to spot dodge a lot, I can just throw this out, wait, D-light, you know. And we talked about the N-sig too, so I could just throw this out, wait, D-light, N-sig, get some good damage going. So yeah, out of, you know, the sheer utility, it allows for true combos. This move is amazing, 3 out of 3 stars. So far, her spear has 6 out of 9 stars, so let's look at her greatsword and see what her greatsword has to offer to her kit. Her N-sig, it's basically Jala's sword N-sig, except it hits grounded, because if I'm not mistaken, Jala's doesn't hit grounded. I literally never play with Jala, so... I mean, I usually play random, but even still, I never get Jala. So I really have no clue if hers hits grounded, but I'm fairly certain it doesn't. But this does hit grounded, so that's nice. It launches the opponent pretty high into the air. I mean, it's cool. You can hold it, and then she takes off much higher. But when you do hold it, when her wings come out, that means the hold version is ready. But as you can see, it doesn't hit grounded anymore. But that's fine because, you know, optimally speaking, you would never really hold this to hit someone out of the air because they'd have, you know, infinite time to react. Which means this move's only, the hold version's only utility is, you know, oh my goodness, slide charges off stage. And sure, it doesn't need to hit grounded because you aren't. So that's fine. It's, you know, it's a decent move. It's pretty cool. It just doesn't bring anything to the table that Greatsword can't already do because Greatsword has Nair, which effectively hits in pretty much the same. I mean, if we look at the hitbox is okay, but it's nothing insane. The Greatsword hitbox actually hits a lot further if we're talking horizontally speaking. So you'd be better off going with this, not to mention this move actually does do some pretty, you know, decent and reliable damage. So in most situations, I mean, if they're grounded and you want to knock them in the air, then sure, this move is your best bet. But if they're already in the air, you're probably better off just jumping, going for this. You know what I mean? But yeah, long story short, it's an okay sig, nothing special. 2 out of 3 stars. Her side sig. This is a pretty good sig, you know, it's just a quick smack with Greatsword. Greatsword already has pretty good range. It doesn't hit stacked though. Yeah. I mean, yeah, see? But the thing is, I mean, you wouldn't really want to use this move if it's stacked anyways, but if it did hit stacked, I mean, I guess it would give it more effective range. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't hit stacked. It does do pretty good damage. It has pretty decent range. You know, you can mix it into your great sword strings. Oh, I forgot to have it set to dodge. You can read dodges, stuff like that. If I know he's gonna neutral, I almost said neutral dodge. What's it called? Spot dodge. There we go. But I really don't have much to say about it. It has decent range, hits pretty hard. It gets the job done. I don't want to give it only 2 stars though, because I only reserve 3 stars for the moves that are just like amazing. This move is, you know, it's not anything amazing. Jaehyun's side sig easily outclasses this, leaps and bounds. So in that regard, you know, it should by default get 2 stars, but I feel like it's slightly better than 2 stars. It's nothing incredible, but it does its job and it does it pretty well. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars out of 3. And finally, D-Sig. This move is literally Spear D-Sig, except it's on Greatsword, which makes it like infinitesimally better. I think that's a word. But this move is going to ruin a lot of people's online experiences. Simply because Greatsword already, I literally don't use Greatsword pretty much ever. I mean, it's okay, but I'm more of like a scythe orb spear kind of guy. But you've ever played a Greatsword player that just like, they'll just like 1, 2, and then they're like here, and then they're there, and then, you know what I mean? This move with the setup and the utility, I feel like it just allows for a lot of creativity. It's just gonna make Greatsword's kit that much better. Because on Spear it's already good, but with Greatsword having all of the range, wow, oh my goodness, I just lagged to death. But with Greatsword having all of the range that it already has, the spatial control, and now it has officially like a setup landmine kind of move. This move is incredible for Greatsword's kit. And so, definite 3 out of 3 stars. Her Spear had 6 out of 9 stars, and her Greatsword has 7.5 out of 9 stars, bringing her total star count to 13.5 out of 18 possible stars. And with my ranking system, every 3 stars brings you up a letter grade from F tier to S tier, which means that she falls into the A tier. And I feel like that's a pretty fair ranking for Arcadia, at least again in my opinion, as she really shines in some elements, making her very, you know, a very surfaceable legend to pick up, a really good choice to take in, but she's nothing incredible and suffers from her own faults and weaknesses, mainly Spear side sig being more of a hindrance than a help, but that's, you know, we've already discussed that for long enough. But yeah, she's nothing legendary or meta defining, but she's a great choice if you love both Spear and Greatsword. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. That's the end of my opinion. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below anything that you would like. The comment section is yours. As always, follow me on all my social media. The link tree will be in the description down below, and I will see you all in the next video.